Hey guys, it's Phaedra from All Things Phaedra. This is actually technically Phaedra on vacation. And this year we decided to plan a big journey to none other than Yellowstone National Park. But 2022 was also the year of a historic flood in Yellowstone. So this happened about a week before we were scheduled to go, and we went back and forth between should we go, should we not go, is it going to reopen? We decided we were going to go regardless because we figured it's such beautiful country and beautiful territory that we would definitely find things to do. But shortly before we left, they said that the South Loop only would be reopening. And if you have a trip planned to Yellowstone or you're thinking about Yellowstone, you may be thinking, well, is it worth it if I can only see half of the park? So Yellowstone is shaped like a figure 8 with a north loop and a south loop. And as of right now, only the south loop is opened. And I'm here to show you a little bit of everything that you can see in the south loop. And in a nutshell, it's totally worth it.
Let me start by giving a special shout out to we'reintherockies.com, my favorite new website for traveling out west. Matt and Cheryl Schoss host this website, and they also put together these fantastic guides and audio programs that were super invaluable to me. If you're interested in something like that, look at the link in my description and you'll see all about the program that you can use that guides you through the park. Following this program, we started by entering through the west entrance in West Yellowstone, and our first day was all about geyser gazing. Our first stop was at the Midway Geyser Basin, where we had a great view of the Grand Prismatic. And I sound like an idiot by saying this, but this was the first time I realized what a thermal hotspot this whole area is. So we got to see Excelsior Geyser, followed by the main attraction, Grand Prismatic Spring, which has this rainbow-colored effect due to the different types of bacteria that live in the different temperature gradients. For a little fun, take out your phone and do a time-lapse of this. And you'll see that the whole area is a very delicate ecosystem surrounded by a boardwalk. Please stay on the boardwalk. You'll see that not all of the animals abide by that, though. Next stop, we got back in the car and went to the Fairy Falls parking area. This gives you a chance to do a relatively short but steep hike to the Grand Prismatic Overlook. Totally worth it for this view. And then on to the upper geyser basin, and the upper refers to the elevation that it's at, and this is where you're going to see the granddaddy of geysers, Old Faithful, which erupts every 90 minutes. We were actually able to catch 2 eruptions of Old Faithful. And then there's a huge boardwalk area that goes around the upper geyser basin, one where you can get a look at Old Faithful, but Mother Nature had other plans. You will see signs like this if there is close bear activity, and please heed these signs. Now there's so much to see on the upper geyser basin boardwalk area. I don't even know what these are called, I'm going to be honest, but there are geysers, there are bubbling springs and mud pots, and it's worth just stopping and taking it in, and it's a beautiful, fairly easy walk. Just another reminder to please stay on the boardwalk. It's required, this is a delicate area, and you could burn yourself. At the end of our walk, we walked into the Old Faithful Inn, a historic lodge with a beautiful lobby. We started our second day for the heart of Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone being the main attraction. Now, I've been to the Grand Canyon and wasn't expecting a whole lot here. I was really surprised. We started at Inspiration Point, which gives you a view of the lower falls. You can head up to the upper falls overlook, and you're guaranteed to see a rainbow almost every time. Then it was on to Artist Point, a can't-miss view of the canyon and the upper falls, And you'll see a lot of the color variation in the rock, and you'll also see why they call it Yellowstone. A little further down, you can go to Uncle Tom's parking lot where you get a great view of the falls. Next was a quick little stop in an area called Mud Volcano, but definitely worth the stop. One of my favorite things was Dragon's Mouth Spring. I did a little time lapse here as well, and it really looks like a dragon breathing. You can also see bubbling mud. We took a detour to get a glimpse at the beautiful spring lake, Yellowstone Lake. Huge and incredibly clear. Just a little further down, we stopped at West Thumb, which I highly recommend. We had some great viewing from the boardwalk here of more geysers and springs right along the lake's edge. And you might see an animal there. I haven't talked about that yet, but there are many animals to see throughout Yellowstone. First animal I saw was a prairie dog, and I was so excited to watch them play. But it only got better. This was my first view of bison, and I just about freaked out until I saw more bison. And more bison. And even more bison. And even baby bison. And even though they look nice and calm, please heed the warnings and keep your distance. This guy decided he just wanted to stand in the road, so we let him. And this is my favorite shot of a bison in its natural environment. But there were other animals to see. And as you saw earlier, this is a female elk, and her babies were nearby. These people, too close. But we did also see male elk, and a mama grizzly bear and her babies. We were quite far away for this. And don't forget to look up. There are a lot of feathered friends out there worth looking at. Even this guy, a beautiful raven. We saw a common merganser in the water, a violet green swallow flying above the lower falls. And by West Thumb, a killdeer guarding her babies. And uncommon to us East Coasters was the Stellar Jay. And on your way out of the park, don't forget to catch at least one Yellowstone sunset.
So I showed you a little bit of everything that we saw in just 2 days. There's a lot more to see. You can spend even more time just in the South Loop. And although 2 days isn't a lot of time, there's still a lot that you can see, a lot that you can do, and even more that you can do outside of the park. And the added bonus is that it's not very crowded at all. We're late risers. They tell you to get up at the crack of dawn to get here to beat the crowds. We didn't do that, and we didn't wait in any line to get into the park. And it was pretty easy to get around and see all of the major attractions. So if you are thinking about heading to Yellowstone soon and you're wondering if it's worth it, my opinion is don't wait. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed sharing a little bit of my vacation. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can come on more adventures with me just like this.